Hey Chris, look, it's a Steam controller.
I know, I got one as well, isn't that nice?
Yeah, well these both turned up at the office today and we've been having a look at the build quality and trying to find a game that is improved by the experience.
I think this one's got batteries in, Johnny. Oh, no, it has, sorry.
Oh.
Please carry on.
And yeah, it's been an interesting experience actually. I think they're kind of, well, I mean, what do you think?
I think you've said the word that we're going to repeat a few times in this video, which is interesting. It is definitely an interesting experience. I don't know that I've enjoyed it so far. I've really struggled. It's got a huge learning curve associated with picking up this controller.
Yeah.
And you know, we've experienced this in the past, going from you know, the various DualShock models, or you know, trying out the Xbox One gamepad compared to the 360, which is really good, and Xbox One's it's all right.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a learning curve, but never like this.
Yeah.
There's just, first of all, there isn't really a default way to use the Steam controller, although there are default setups when you go into certain games. Almost all of them you want to customize, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's weird. Like,
yeah.
For example, this right haptic pad can be, you can tell it to work like a right analog stick, so for the games that would usually use a controller, or as a mouse.
Yeah.
And like, that's a big decision to make straight away, and different games prefer different methods. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think it honestly shows potential. I mean, we tried a bunch of different games. We tried, you know, Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yep. That was a bad place to start.
That was a bad place to start because it's, you know, this is never going to. I mean, well, maybe it is going to replace the right analog stick. I don't know, but we tried Chaos Reborn. That was fine. And I think actually that is the kind of thing where you could sit down and play that on the sofa.
That's the only one I played that I thought, yes, I see what they're doing here. Just because, like, moving the camera around was absolutely fine.
Mm-hmm.
It needs some customization in terms of which buttons do what, but it's actually a very nice way of playing that game. So like when you're dragging your spells into the battlefield, it's like a single button press, and then it attaches to your mouse, and you can just move it around and drop it wherever you like. That one felt natural.
Yeah.
Maybe the only one for me.
What I played some Counter-Strike Go with this, and it was very interesting. It felt alien to me for a while, but kind of less so because it's a first-person shooter.
Sure.
And I was able to use either the stick or the haptic pad on the left for my movement, and then the right was obviously just where I point my gun, and crouch was mapped to here, which was like really
That was
interesting.
like a custom setup that someone else had made, right?
Yes, so I think this is where the Steam controller could really excel. In that I went to boot up the game and it said, hey, this isn't designed for controllers, but you can use one.
What are you doing, you crazy person?
Why? But you know, since you're here, why don't you try all these ones? And some of these are recommended. La 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 la. So I read one that I quite liked. I picked it up, and they had turned the sensitivity and the haptic feedback on the aim up like ridiculously high.
Yeah, of course they're always going to in that game.
But I mean, it's going to take me some while to sort of unlearn it and relearn. But as I was moving around, it was actually really responsive and really nice. But when I had to say turn around because someone was behind me, or when I had to be like super accurate as you need to be in Counter-Strike, I really struggled. And I think if I dial down the sensitivity to find an area where I'm I'm comfortable with it, I think absolutely this could turn Counter-Strike, a game that wasn't programmed for use with a controller, into something I could play on the sofa.
My concern there is that, yes, it may well be more comfortable to play it like that, and it'd be nice to sit on a sofa and play CSGO, definitely, but like, how long do you play it before doubt creeps into your mind that when you get killed, it's like, usually you'd be like, oh, I made a mistake there, or that person's better, or, you know, well, if you're a reasonable person, I guess.
Yeah.
How long before you start saying, they're using a mouse and keyboard and I was using a Steam controller, this isn't fair?
Yeah, I think that doubt would creep in very quickly. I mean, when I was playing, and it was my first time with it, I was definitely like, if I were playing with a mouse and keyboard, I would be 4 or 5 ranks ahead of where I am. I think I got like 3 kills in the entire game.
That's kind of impressed.
It's it was. They were lucky though. You know, none of it felt like clutch gameplay. And I feel like, I imagine if you're going to sit down, if you can't be bothered to sit down with a mouse and keyboard and play Counter-Strike sitting up, if you're just on the sofa, you probably would forgive yourself a lot, be like, well, I'm using this Steam controller. Sure. But that's a sacrifice you're going to have to make. You're going to have to make some form of ego concession in order to, you know, account for the fact that, you know, you're eating crisps off your stomach while you're on the sofa. You know, it's I don't know. I think there is potential for this. It's just hard to see where it's going to go. I can't imagine the game that I'm going to use this for and have my experience improve. That's not to say it's not possible, and I imagine I'm looking forward to receiving one in the post. I've got it on pre-order, but right now I just can't visualize where this fits in.
Yeah,
you know.
I don't think I'm convinced yet. Unfortunately, I want to be, because it's it's from Valve. You expect a certain level of quality, and it's all very exciting. We all got excited about a box from Valve turning up, and it hasn't lived up to that yet. No,
I mean, even the build quality, just to talk about that very quickly, it's a little bit lighter than I anticipated. Not that you want something that's like massively heavy, but you want a little bit of reassuring weight.
It's I completely get that. It's the difference between the Xbox controllers and the PlayStation controllers for me. That feeling of heft.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's always that comfortable to play, so I really do like these kind of, what do you call paddles on the back?
These are amazing.
They are.
Absolutely.
But I don't know what to do when I'm not using them. When I don't want to use them, I want to be comfortable. I feel like I'm always worried about them.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know that I like doing this. I feel like there's a lot of thumb work going on.
True.
I'm not sure I would describe it as a comfortable controller to use, which is definitely a worry after only I
don't know, I find it quite comfortable to hold, and when I was running around in Counter-Strike, even though I was doing really badly, I did find it quite comfortable to use that.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I think basically we're just going to have to remap our brains a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of these triggers. These feel a bit flimsy, but I don't know. I'm not going to give up on it yet, since I haven't actually got one of my own.
Do you know what it is, Johnny? It's interesting.
It's interesting. It's very interesting.
Hinckley, Interstate 82.
That was a Christopher Walken type thing, first job ever. Bang.
The Cat in the Hat.
It was something like this because he had to talk very much like, oh my.